Hey, Joel and Bryan from Zoom Vacations here, and we're talking about Bryan's wonderful trip this summer to many of the national parks in the U.S.
Yes, and today we're going to talk about Yellowstone and Grand Teton. So there's a lot to cover in this video, but we're going to make it short. So I drove down from Glacier National Park, which is in Montana, drove down to Yellowstone, which is about a 6.5 hour drive. And Yellowstone is within Montana and Wyoming. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What Yellowstone? Is it yellow? Is it what?
Okay, I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I don't know why it's called Yellowstone. I should. I'll put it in the information about this video. But one of the cool things we did on the way down to Yellowstone is we about an hour and 15 minutes away from Yellowstone on the west side are these two old mining towns, two ghost towns, Nevada City and Virginia City.
Question.
Yes.
Did you see any ghosts?
No, I did. No, I did not see any ghosts. I looked.
Okay.
I looked for some. No.
But I'm sure they saw you.
They're everywhere. Those ghosts. So really cool thing to do. You can also go there and have lunch maybe before you get into Yellowstone, which is like a really good idea. Super fun photo opportunities, and just also really interesting. Like learned about this the first African American woman who owned a large company. She owned a railway company in the United States. So things like that were just really cool to learn. So it was great. So we stayed on the western side of Yellowstone. Now there's plenty of places. There's Yellowstone Lodge, and I think it's called, other places to stay within Yellowstone. A couple things. One, they're pretty expensive. Just they're cool, but they're pretty expensive. Location. But and then you're right by everything. But you're also right by everything. So you're gonna have like a lot of people around you. You're gonna have like a lot of other tourists in those areas, and then also you're gonna be beholden to whatever restaurant venue is at that hotel within the park.
How's the food there?
So I would not say that the food outside of Yellowstone was a highlight. It was okay. It was just actually not amazing. Not amazing.
Okay. But it did the trick.
It did the trick. And there's a lot of hotel options on the western side of Yellowstone. And right now, because there's certain areas that are open and closed within Yellowstone, almost everything is open. On the east side, there were some closures. And so I think that staying in the west side of the park right now really makes a lot of sense. That's another tip I have for you. And then another thing, wake up early. Go, oh my gosh, absolutely do sunrise in Yellowstone, okay? Do sunrise. Because first of all, it's all about all things thermal in Yellowstone. And you're gonna see the mist coming up from these hot springs, and even the rivers are all misting because a lot of the rivers within Yellowstone, they're being fed by these hot springs. And so they're not super cold rivers. Like I went swimming in one and it was nice water. And so in the morning, you see the mist coming off the river, super beautiful. And
beautiful colors, I saw your pictures.
Well, that is different. I'll tell you that in a second. But another thing about the morning is that you just have less people.
Yeah.
Less people, and you also have the opportunity to see more animals as they're waking up and grazing and things
Probably
like that.
not as hot too.
Not as hot, that's another thing, yeah. And seeing the bison grazing in Yellowstone is really neat. So
are they dangerous? The bison?
If you get too close, yeah, you just don't want to get too close to them. At one point we saw two bison like calling out to each other in a herd. That was really, really cool. So one
what
of
do they sound like?
Like that.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'll recreate that later.
That was good.
Yeah. Thanks. I do a really mean bison. So then one of the hot springs, which is incredible to see, probably my personal highlight Yellowstone, was the Grand Prismatic hot spring. That one is best experience in the afternoon though. It has all these vibrant colors and different sediment. I mean like bright aqua blue, but orange and yellow and red. It's just really cool. Like the rim of the hot spring is all these different colors. So you go, there's like this walkway. You see the Grand Prismatic. So you got to see it from right there, and there will be a lot of people there in the afternoon. So just be ready. Even better than that though, you want to do that, but then also drive up the road another like 2 miles, and there's an entrance called Fairy Waterfall, and go park in Fairy Waterfall. You hike up this. It's not a big hike. Just about anyone.
Did you see any fairies?
No.
Okay.
Just about anyone. Thanks for these great questions, though. Ghosts, fairies, all of it. Yeah. Hiked up there, and then from the top of this mountain, you look down, and you look down on the Grand Prismatic Hot Spring, and that's when you really see like the crazy colors, and like it's
wow.
Really cool.
Sounds like it's worth the trip.
Really worth it. And then we went on to from there it's just like a nature walk more to Fairy Falls, which are really pretty, really pretty wonderful. So that's cool. The biggest disappointment probably of all the national park experiences that I had is also the thing that everyone wants to see.
What's that?
So, Old Faithful. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. You kind of go to Old Faithful and you're like, all right, well there it goes.
Next.
okay, yeah, it's definitely like, got it. And then you go on to seeing other cool stuff. There's the upper and lower falls, which are really beautiful in Yellowstone. Like waterfalls, they're gorgeous. And they have so many, I was kind of joking, there's like so many ways to see these falls. Okay, now see them from the base, now see them from the top, now see them from the side, now see them from this trail, now see them from that trail. You're like, whew, I have seen those falls, but they are beautiful. And then Mammoth Hot Springs, super cool. It's in the northern part of, like by the northern entrance to Yellowstone, kind of away from other attractions. And you notice I keep saying like attractions. Yellowstone is a place of like attractions. It's not like big hiking. It's more like you're seeing like cool stuff. But the Mammoth Hot Springs are amazing. It's all this like sediment and just they're these terraced, like white terraces that have like the water going through them. If you can go to Mammoth Hot Springs like right after sunrise, maybe like an hour after sunrise, and see the light changing and as the mist coming off, very cool.
So these are places how many that you drive to, right? So how many miles did you drive altogether?
Within Yellowstone, or the whole national park strip, I drove like 2,600 miles.
Wow.
But just within Yellowstone, it's not too much driving. Like you're driving, like from the west entrance over to Mammoth Hot Springs is probably an hour. From the west entrance to Grand Prismatic Hot Spring with all the colors, probably 45 minutes. So this is Yellowstone. Those are my big tips for Yellowstone. Make sure you go and you'll probably see bison, which is really cool. Those waterfalls, Grand Prismatic Hot Spring, you gotta see Old Faithful. The Mammoth Hot Springs, and then just you'll see other hot springs on the way. Like there's these ones called, I believe they're called like Paintbrush or something. It's just really interesting to see the different hot springs, especially like in the morning for the hot springs, to see them with the steam. Except for Grand Prismatic, you have to see in the afternoon, because the afternoon sun's what makes you see all the colors.
I see.
So only about an hour from Yellowstone, you can actually get there through Yellowstone, is Grand Teton National Park. Spectacular. Huge mountain peaks. I don't think you need, like, if you love hiking, you could spend many days there. If you just want to kind of go see it, one day is okay to do like 1 or 2 hikes.
Is that where the Badlands are?
No, that's in South Dakota. Okay. So the really cool thing that I saw in Grand Teton, though, and what it's kind of known for, is moose. So I saw 2 moose in Grand Teton. They're massive. That was really
Like
cool.
how big? How tall?
Like a Volkswagen Bug. Like they're huge, and if it's huge, the antlers are massive.
So you don't want to mess with them?
No, they're in the distance. They were just kind of looking at us like, really? And so what a lot of people do in Grand Teton is you go to Jenny Lake. I don't know why it's called Jenny Lake, but it is. And then you get on this little boat. You wait in line. You get on a boat. It's like an $11 round trip thing, and it takes you across the lake to several hiking trails. What's also cool about Grand Teton is that the hiking options are fantastic in that you can start one, you can maybe have like a 3-mile option, you can have like an 8-mile option, you can have different options based on how much you want to do. And there's, especially in that hike that you go to from Jenny Lake, you can see like gorgeous waterfalls and other kind of things along the way.
Do you suggest like doing a picnic there at all?
Oh yeah, you could. So what I suggest in general is that you're gonna have your backpack full of water. Always bring more water than you think you're going to need. That's my biggest tip in general for anyone doing anything outdoors hiking.
Stay hydrated.
And then also bring protein bars, bring an apple, whatever, bring, I had a lot of beef jerky that I brought, things like that. And you're gonna want that with you as well. And then, so if you start off in Yellowstone, maybe you stay outside of the West Yellowstone entrance, do Yellowstone for maybe 2 or 3 nights is enough. Go to Grand Teton, maybe 1 or 2 nights there. You can stay in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where you go to Grand Teton. Yeah,
that's a nice
or
place.
You can go over this overpass and stay over there. So like a lot of cute places. And I believe it's called Victor. Yeah, Victor, Idaho. That's where I stayed, and it's really beautiful bed and breakfast.
I mean,
I loved. Yeah.
Breaking it up with Jackson Hole would be nice.
Yeah.
Nice restaurants.
Well, I think really,
and things like that.
yeah, there's nice restaurants and stuff. I think that it really makes sense to do Yellowstone and Grand Teton. If you're going to do Yellowstone, and if you like mountains, you have to do Grand Teton. Grand Teton's
and they're not that far from each other.
They're like an hour away.
Oh,
so that's it. Those are my big tips for that area.
There you have it. Visiting the U.S.